What's up, guys? Keegan Hipgrave here, past player and transition manager at the RLPA. Today, we've got a special one. Today, I'm joined by former NRL and Super League player Shaun Kenny-Dowall. How are you, brother?
How's it, brother?
Mate, I'm travelling well.
I know, good to see you, and all the way in England.
Yeah, mate, and hey, beautiful day here in Hull.
It is, bro. The sun's out. It was just raining about 20 minutes ago, so mate, standard English weather.
We had a beautiful catch up, mate. How you feeling? How's everything going?
Yeah, it's going awesome, bro. Like, this is my first year into transition, and started coaching. Still at the club that I played for, which has been really good. And yeah, the boys are travelling really well. We're sitting top of the league, so mate, first baby on the way. So life's really good, man. Can't complain. It's so good.
There's so many cool things happening today, and I'm keen to unpack it today. But like, even the boys had a really good win on the weekend. We came and watched you guys. Just for context, for those who are listening, Tommy Simons and I came over to UK. We're catching up with a lot of the past players, presenting to the boys, and obviously linking with you boys. But it was cool to come out to the Magic Round and watch you guys play. You guys are killing it.
Yeah, man, the boys are playing so well. It's every year that I've been here, we've been progressively getting better. But mate, we've lost twice to Catalans, and they're one of the better teams. So
gotcha.
Yeah, to perform on the big stage like that at Magic Weekend is it's really pleasing, and to see the boys at the top of the league, and we should be there fighting for the big one at the end of the year if all goes well. So
super
it's
exciting.
Super exciting, yeah.
Mate, keen to dive into it. I think before we rip into the footy stuff, I kind of want to know what it was like growing up for you, because obviously, like, you spent a lot of time growing up in New Zealand. Like, what was childhood like? How'd you get into rugby league?
Man, I love rugby league. My old man, like, he played rugby league, and my mum couldn't get me out of the house quick enough. This was probably a little shit when I was growing up. I had lots of energy, but I always loved sport, and I come from quite a sporting family. My old man went to the Paralympics and won gold and silver for New Zealand.
What sport?
He did javelin and shot put.
That's so sick, man.
So he's got one leg, but I used to watch him playing league, bro. He was like pretty tough dude, and I used to go down and watch him train, and I just fell in love with the game as soon as I started playing when I was 4 years of age, and man, I just knew that's all I ever wanted to do. I used to sleep in my boots, and I had a good childhood, man. I can't complain. My parents, gave me everything, and enjoyed times with my brother and sister. Sorry, my two sisters. Yeah. I got to give myself a fake brother there, bro.
Mate, no, that's fine.
But no, it was cool. Like, and also watching my dad, partake in his, sporting journey in the Paralympics, sort of instilled in me in those ethics of, hard work and dedication and application to my craft of rugby league.
But that's something that I'd love to zoom in on, because obviously, like, your dad, like, being at such a high level, like the level of hard work that I imagine even getting to the Olympics, Paralympics would be incredible, yeah?
Yeah, mate, and he wasn't full-time, back then, like there wasn't much funding, so I saw the hard work. He had to still have a job and, provide for our family, and then all his training was after hours, so he relied on sponsorship and stuff like that. But yeah, just see how he dedicated his life to being, a dad and a sportsman. And also, my mum was she was a 100-meter runner too, like back in the day.
That's where you get the speed from, brother.
not anymore, so faded off towards the back end of the career. But yeah, like I said, they were a pretty sporty family, and that's all I ever really knew. I knew I was active every, used to play athletics in the summer, league in the winter, and it was just any ball sports I could play when I was younger.
I was going to say, was it always rugby league, or did you flirt with like rugby union and all, or other sports?
Because I grew up in New Zealand, I played a bit of union, but league was always the passion. The old man used to watch all the NRL, and I used to watch it too, bro. I remember, like, one day I was watching a game. I would have been like 5 or 6. And I had this like vision, like, of watching a game at Allianz Stadium. I was like, man, that's what I want to do. And I sort of like envisioned myself playing in that stadium, and I would go on to have like a 12-year career with the Roosters at Allianz. So
that's so cool.
Have like one of those moments when you're younger and you just go, man, you reflect on it, and you're like, I actually remember that as a kid, like setting myself that vision when I was like such a young age. So it was pretty surreal, bro.
That's good, mate. That's so cool to hear that you're doing that at a young age. Because one thing that I'm keen to figure out is, like, when did you think that rugby league was actually going to be a full-time thing for you? Because obviously, like, would have been super talented growing up. At what point were you like, oh, this is actually something I might be able to do as a job?
I think I would have been like 14 or 15. I was real young. Obviously, everyone's probably heard the backpacker story, but that was like me taking a risk and going after a dream of, that I wanted to play rugby league full time and
backpack from New Zealand to Australia,
to Aussie, and that was just my old man was a big driver behind that. Obviously, there's one professional league team in New Zealand. There's 12 in Sydney, whatever it is. Yeah. And we just did the mathematical, work. If we go there, play well, you got more chance of being picked up and, getting in a good system. And we just moved our whole lives from New Zealand to Australia and trying to play rugby league. So from a young age, you sort of have that mentality shift. If I'm going to do this, you got to be 100% all in and, dedicate to why you're going there. So, I sort of knew at a young age I'm not going to take this opportunity that I'm actually creating and, be blasé about it. So,
did you have a club that you already aligned with before going over, or was it like, I'm going over?
Clough Valley Crocodiles, which is just in like the South Sydney.
Tough spot as well, Clough Valley as well.
Bro, it's a bit different to New Zealand. But it was crazy, bro. We rocked up there. I went with two of my friends. We all finished school. We quit school, and we got jobs because we didn't have like much money when we were growing up. So it was, we had to save and work hard to save for a ticket to go to Aussie and then probably, have about 2 months of, money built up so we could, try and find an apartment together. And it was pretty cool actually. Yeah, there was 3 of us and we just all went over. My old man followed us over and we landed on the shores of Clough Valley and we had to jog to trainings. We didn't have a car or anything and we were just running along the Bondi to Coogee Walk, so it wasn't too bad, bro. Right. Can't complain.
I spent a bit of time in Sydney after para, playing para, because same thing, love para. But mate, I want to live at Clough Valley, Coogee. So, but mate, that would have been such a huge shock from being in NZ, growing up there, families there, friends there, to coming over to the beaches. Like that transition's got to be tough, yeah? Or was it not too bad?
It was pretty massive, bro. We enjoyed it, loved it. It was like our eyes wide open, bro. We were in the big smoke and, we were working in the city and like catching trains and buses and it was pretty full on. And we found our little environment and, some of the local boys that were playing for Clough Valley really tucked us under their wing and some of those boys are still, real good friends now that they've sort of looked after us and, welcomed us into the community and into the club and really, helped facilitate that starting years.
Well, you obviously would have made such an impact for everyone who's like known you over your career, but mate, when you came in to the NRL, you were so young.
Yeah, I was young.
You were 19 years old,
19,
right?
Yeah.
How run me through that. How special was that trying to do it, but also do it at such a young age?
Mate, it happened really quick, it was probably like two and a half years from, making that decision and then, mate, then you're making your NRL debut. So, it was a pretty special moment. It just showed that all the sacrifices that all my family and all the hard work that I'd put into to reach that point at such a young age. It was it came so quick, but really enjoyed that journey in the early years.
Career highlight? What are you thinking?
I think
something that you look back and you're like, that was sick. Like
I think got to be the grand final, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it's got to be. Some people play their whole careers and never win a grand final. So I think we did it with such a real special group too. We'd started through the juniors of SG ball and then under 20s and then we sort of went through the grades with each other and Mitchell Orbison, Piercy, Jake Fran.
It's a good crew, man.
It's a good crew.
It's a good crew, man.
And we sort of started at the bottom and worked our way through the years of first grade and then became leaders within the Roosters and then created a really good winning culture and environment that was just, mate, it was so awesome to be a part of for those years.
It's cool, mate. To be honest, it's cool to be here. It's cool to be here with you. Even before doing this, you're someone who I looked at when I was a little grom, right? Coming through, and I don't mean to bring up your age, but I remember when I must have been 10 years old, and I think you guys were playing in it was the 2010 preliminary final.
Tigers.
And obviously the intercept try, it's cool, mate. It's cool to sit here and it's a full circle moment.
Yeah.
But when you were growing up, who were the crew that you were looking up to, or guys that when you first came into the NRL system, you kind of looked up to? Yeah.
Oh, it was massive, bro. It was would have been Freddie Fittler.
Yeah.
Those were the guys we used to train. It was ES Marks. It was I think we were in that SG ball. I was 16 at the time, but I just remember seeing Fitzy and Minicello and Roosters were in a pretty successful era then too. So it was whoa, no way. You see guys that you watch on TV, and I was always a big Warriors fan. I'm staunch, Kiwi and that. But when you sort of move over and you put on a Roosters jersey and you're training in the facilities, and then you see these guys that have had so much success over such a long period of time.
Yeah.
You go, wow, that's where I need to be and where I want to be, and it was pretty funny throughout those years, mate. One of my biggest role models was Minnie.
Yeah.
Just saw the way how professional he was and some of the things that he implemented about being professional and looking after his body. And,
what are the key things you reckon?
Oh, mate, it's diet and energy, obviously lifestyle, food. Food's a massive one, just the way that he looked after his body, and probably injury prevention too, prehab and how you prepare for every session, and just being real, diligent. I was pretty touch wood, didn't have too many injuries throughout my career, but it was from those early lessons of seeing some of these ultimate pros and Fitzy and Minicello and Sonny Bill to a certain extent. They just come through and really change the culture of the place.
But you can also see it, like being in there. Like, it's one thing for people to talk about it. Like, I'm sure there's going to be a heap of young crew listening to this, maybe older guys that are still in it, that are listening to it. But it's one thing listening about it, and it's another thing actually seeing it and being immersed in it. And you were right in the thick of it, yeah?
Yeah, mate. You just see how they prepare every day. Yeah. They're in the gym. They're the first ones in there. They're doing their little extras. They're doing their video. They're leading the way on the training field, talking up in videos, and it's so important, bro. Monkey see, monkey do. Yeah. If everyone's, all pushing along that sort of environment, and it just creates a great culture, especially when those guys are leading the way, or, any leaders are leading the way. They set the standards, and the rest follow.
Mate, it's really cool. And even like being in the game for so long, like obviously you've had an incredible career, not only in the NRL, but also in the Super League. We're here with the RLPA. Like, we're coming over here, we're representing the player, I guess, rights. How have you seen player rights or the RLPA change over time in your NRL career from when you first started in 2007 to when you left a couple of years ago?
It's been massive. Obviously, you've seen the CBA agreements, and then, even the last year or two, some of the things that they've been able to implement. Obviously, you and Tommy are here now. These are things that, would never happen 3 or 4 years ago, but obviously some of the, the funding that's available, some of your retirement fund for the players, the education that's, available to the players now it's just, mate, it's so good to see that, they've got the players' best needs at heart, and they really care about their players. So, you guys are doing an amazing job, bro.
That's the biggest thing, because I'm only new. Like, I only jumped on board at the end of last year. Obviously, been in rugby league for most of my life. Like, even coming out of the game, you sort of watch the CBA from afar, but being actually behind the doors and behind the scenes and seeing how hard the crew work, like, crew do it because they love it, and they actually genuinely care about the players. Like, when Tommy and I first caught up about the past player program, I was telling them all the stuff we want to do in psychology and helping mates who are coming out of the game. And you mentioned the past player and transition program. And it just, like, light bulb moments. Like, this is a way to make genuine impact with the crew. And you'll see it this afternoon when we do the group meeting with all the Hull boys. It's like, we've got an opportunity to actually, like, help the transition out of rugby league, or if you go over to the Super League, or if you don't get a contract. So, mate, it's really cool to see that transition over time.
Oh, mate, and it's so important. The need's there. People do struggle, and it's a big mentality shift coming out of the game, especially when you identify as a rugby league player for so long. You presents a lot of challenges that you need to overcome, and to be able to have that support, and like you said, I think you said it before, to feel like you've got support and people that you can lean on, and, create those connections that you're not alone when you're going through those challenges. And it's just so important, bro. And, like, to have the funding and the programs that you guys are implementing, you guys are going to have an impact on so many people's lives, which is so important.
You mentioned identity there. Did you ever find those times in your NRL career or Super League career where your footy identity, like, you clung to it and there was nothing else? Or was
massively, bro, I think, and it was to my own detriment mentally, because your whole worth is based on whether you play well on the weekend or not. And there was times where I mentally really struggled to, separate the two. And I think that's where I, really started playing my most consistent, like, footy, is when I was able to separate the two. Whether I played bad or not, I could still go home and be a happy person.
Gotcha.
Like, I wouldn't let the game affect me. At the end of the day, it's just a game, but being able to separate the two, and you learn to have different coping mechanisms, and being able to separate the two is so important.
How do you separate it practically? Like, is it just an awareness piece? Like, having these conversations?
Having these conversations too, but I think it comes through practice as well, bro, and time. Yeah. You actually have to go through the demons of playing bad and, you know, feeling the pressure of performance and expectation, but then also learning how to overcome that. You know, it's something that's gained through experience, but then also awareness too, you know, and really challenging yourself to get the best out of yourself no matter what life throws at you. You know, it's like you're going to have good games, you're going to have bad games, but how do you show up when you're at home? How do you show up when you know, life isn't going your way? You know, that's so important to be consistent in who you are and you know, be the same person regardless of what's happening on or off the field.
Mate, I love that. I think that's such a huge part, and that's probably something that we see in a lot of players who are transitioning over to the Super League or who are leaving the game. It's that connection piece and that identity piece where you're like, wow, this is who I'm supposed to be. I'm like Shaun Kenny-Dowall, the footy player, whereas like you actually partner, soon to be father, which we're keen to touch on, but like you're so much more than that.
Well, that's what we were saying before. It's about finding your other passions as well. You know, like I love the psychology stuff. I love like the spirituality stuff, and that I've sort of really clung on to that, and that's separate from my rugby league career. So you have all these other things that you know, put your energy into that gives you energy. You know, it's like so important to find that balance away from rugby, whether it's study, whether it's you know, your own interests, whether it's your family, or you know, you have to find other things that, you know, give you fulfillment outside of rugby league.
But I think that's such an important piece. You obviously had like such an incredible career in the NRL. How was your transition over to the UK in the Super League?
It was real tough, bro, to be honest. Yeah. I think I underestimated like how tough it was going to be. I was coming off of like a real bad knee surgery at the end of my last NRL season. And I probably didn't have a very good preseason at all. You know, wasn't able to train and put in the hard work that I would have liked to, and come into a new club in the whole KR, which, you know, was probably at the bottom of the league at the time. And mate, it was a real tough year. Obviously, COVID hit in my first year as well. So
dude, that's like, so tough to come.
It was the worst ultimate combo. You know, it was just all came in at the wrong time, and I really struggled on the field as well. Like I said, I didn't have a good preseason, and I probably wasn't performing the way that I would have liked to, but yeah, I had a real good coach at the time, Tony Smith, and he sort of encouraged me to stick with it and, you know, get through those times and making sure that I, you know, went back the second year and had a good preseason, and then, I managed to kick on and really make the most of it.
Because I imagine that's probably a tough thing, because like marquee signing, coming in, a huge amount of expectations, but you don't even get to have the preseason. Like I think you were telling me beforehand, before at coffees, like you had a week before round one.
I hadn't even like ran, bro, and they were like, "Yeah, you're going to play in the trial game." I was like, "Whoa!" I've just had like 4 months off, and I have probably 2 or 3 training sessions. It wasn't like a build up, but you know, it was good. Like it was good to break the ice, and obviously, mate, it was so wet and rainy too. It was so muddy. I was like, "Oh my gosh,
we've got beautiful weather out here now. It's unreal." I was like, "Mate, what are the boys complaining about?"
Yeah, and that's another thing. I think we were talking about the adjustment. You know, it does take a bit to adjust and acclimatise to the climate, the different culture. That you got to do a full preseason in the winter, man. It's like you got 14 layers on, and it's tough, bro. It's real tough at the start.
What do you think the biggest challenge off the field is? Because obviously, like we've had a lot of catch ups with the boys over these last couple of weeks being over here. What do you think your biggest challenge was coming over here off footy?
I just think it's finding that support network. You know, you've got your teammates and they have families, and we're all going through similar things. So if you can really connect with, you know, that solid tight knit of people that are your family over here, and just making sure you've got good people around you, and as long as if your family's happy and you've got that's a good support network, it's always so much easier, bro.
Who are you knocking around with over here?
Well, I'm a coach now, so like Willie before that. But when I first moved over, one of the Kiwi boys, Walla Hodaki, he lived about 200 metres down the road, so it was so cool. You know, we used to just have dinners and cards nights, and you know, our families used to get together and have barbecues, and it's just about finding good people, man.
I reckon that connection piece is huge, because obviously even just for anyone going into a new environment, even a new club, like when you can have that support network around, or have it like just crew that you can knock around with, man, it would make it just so much more enjoyable. Even the partner, like your partner being happy, because if they're happy, mate, it makes it so much easier.
Happy wife, happy life.
That's it, man.
Nah, it is true. That's what we're saying before. Like if you can connect families where, you know, your partner gets along with the other players' partners, and we're all away from home, we're all away from our family, so you rely on those other people so much more.
But you talked about support network, even from like a player union or RLPA standpoint. What do you think the biggest differences is between Australia in the NRL and the Super League?
Well, there's no players association. I think there's a massive need for one, because you see some of the boys here when they retire and they have nothing, like they don't have that retirement fund where that gives them that opportunity and time to be able to assess what it is they want. They don't have the funding. I think they're starting to get a bit more awareness around it, but mate, even you guys here, we're still getting support. I've been out of the game, NRL for 5 years, and you still get the weekly emails and letters and
you read
Tommy
it?
Simons. Yeah,
Yeah,
Tommy
he
Simons.
loves that,
Shout out to you,
loves his
brother.
much
Good work, bro.
letters.
Keep it up, man. But no, mate, there's such a need for it, and I think the Super League is really starting to invest time and energy into that area now.
It's because for me, obviously, I've never been over here. I don't know what the boys are like, but we are getting a lot of learnings, a lot of key learnings, and we want to support players who are in transition, not just guys who are retiring or who might not have a contract, but for the guys who are coming over here. Such a big part of this trip is sitting down with you like this morning, or even doing these group meetings that we're going to do with the lads to let them know everything they've got access to, whether that's psychological support, education grants that you meant, career coaches, the medical support fund that's going to be helping the players post-retirement. Like, these stuffs are there's such great initiatives and such great benefits, and hopefully that this is going to ease the transition out of professional sport.
Yeah, man, it's so important. If you don't have those pieces of the puzzle, like, mate, stuff can capitulate real quickly if you don't have that support, or you don't know where to go for the support. So I think it's so important, that the players do know there's a place they can go, and you guys are doing a great job in providing that.
Well, I think that's the piece. Yeah, it was like historically there hasn't been a point of contact.
No,
so when you finish up, you're like, well, that's. Probably there has been past previous initiatives before, but there hasn't been okay, this is your point of contact to look after or give you the point of contact for everything, right?
Yeah. Well, that's it. Like, I've had a few financial checkups and all my home loans. Tommy checks in every few months, right. So it's just great to have that support and to have that care value that you guys are showing to all the players, and mate, it's so good.
How does that reflect your on-field stuff? Because obviously there hasn't been much beforehand, but you came over to Hull KR, you said it was a bit of a challenging, tough time, but now you're transitioning. The boys are at the top of the table now. You've had some great success over the last couple of years. How has the last couple of years been? Captaining the boys as well?
Mate, it was awesome, mate, to see. I think that was a main driver behind coming here, was understanding where the club had been in the past. And we probably hadn't had much success over a long period of time. And I really, wanted to go through that experience and that challenge of trying to, be a stable point and go through that whole journey with the club. And that's the way that the coach sold it to me at the time. And then, to see that journey play out has been amazing, bro. So fulfilling. And then we obviously didn't win any trophies, but we came close. We played in a Challenge Cup final, and then it was a massive honour to, like you said, captain the club and go forward, which is just, mate, some of the learnings and lessons that I've learned, and I've become a better person and a better, captain and leader for going through those experiences. And I'm now, trying to transition those learnings into my coaching career now.
What did you learn? What was the biggest learning out of all of it?
I just think, especially when you're a leader and a captain, how you can influence the rest of your squad and other people. I probably was quite a selfish player through my junior years and didn't really understand what leadership or, being a leader was. But now as you get older, you understand that you can have so much more influence on the other people around you. And it's not just about you, it's about getting the boys up every week and setting the standards and being a role model. And, it's about relationships, connection, all the little things, man, that you don't really think about when you're younger.
Man, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's been a massive journey. Like I said, so many, positive things since I've been here.
And now you get to stay on board as a coach.
Yeah,
coach. How, obviously you've been in the game for so long, you had an incredible career. Why stick around? Why stick around coach at Hull KR?
Well, because I didn't achieve what I wanted to as a player for the club, but now to be able to still be part of that journey, and I've got to thank the club so much too. They allowed that transition period. They were very thankful for what I did, when I was on the field, and they offered me that opportunity, which just couldn't say no to, just to stay in the game, obviously keep, helping the club progress to further heights, and the goal. I don't think we've won a trophy in over 30 years, so that's always the end goal, and to still be a part of that, and hopefully, help the younger boys come through and work on developing and give back to the game is the most important, because the game's been so good to me, the club's been so good to me. Now it's my turn to be able to repay the favour and give back to them.
It's cool that you're still knocking around in rugby league circles, and like that, I love that, like the giving back to the game after it's given so much to you, because I imagine there's so many guys who probably leave professional sport, not just rugby league, but any professional sport, a little bit salty or a bit sour just because their body might be a bit cooked or the way they were treated on the back end of it. But it's really cool to see where your head's at, where you're like, no, I just want to give back to the players.
And I was real fortunate, bro. I went out of the game on my terms. I probably could have kept going another year, but I was really ready for the next thing and to be able to transition. I've been doing it for such a long period of time, but I'm starting from the bottom again, and that really excites me. It's like something new. I have no idea how to work a computer until, this year.
You're doing all the editing and cutting up.
Just like, whoa, but it's so cool, man. You're learning different things and you're in a different environment, and it's such a professional environment too. I really can't commend Willie Peters, enough for the environment and the culture and the systems, and you see how meticulous. And I take my hat off, bro. You don't realise, as a player, how much goes into behind the scenes and preparation, and you don't think about half the things that you have to when you're on the other side, bro. So you've got a greater appreciation for the preparation that goes into the staff and behind the scenes.
Man, I love that piece on starting again. I think that's super important. I had a mentor. He's dealt with a lot of professional athletes in their transition, not just NRL, but like all other sports. And what the reference or the analogy that he uses is like rugby league is like a mountain, right? And you might have been in it for 12 plus seasons, and it's hard to get up to the top. But a lot of players think that they're just going to jump across to the next mountain, whether that being financially, status, coaching roles, job positions. But in reality, you have to actually climb back down and start again. And guess what? You're going to climb the second mountain just as quicker because you've had all the learnings from the previous thing. So I look at you in your coaching role, and it's so exciting to see because, like you said, you took so many learnings and key takeaways from the last 12 plus years, and now you can give that and watch your career progress.
Yeah, well, that's it, bro. Like, I think as long as you have the same values of hard work and dedication, you can take those things into any walk of life. And like I said, I'm starting again. I've got some great tools to learn from, some great people to learn off, that have been in the coaching game for a long time. And that's really opened my eyes about, who I should be like modeling myself on and see how they prepare and, how they coach the boys. And you're just a sponge, man. It's like you just have to start that whole process again. And just, I'm watching them now as opposed to Minicello, Was it all take little pieces from everyone and become, Shaun Kenny-Dowall, the coach. I don't need to be anyone else but myself within that, So I'm looking forward to molding my own journey within that.
Did you always think it was going to be coaching when you were playing?
I think I always knew I wanted to stay in the game, but under what capacity? I was pretty open to a new career as well, but like I said, it worked out that I've been given this opportunity, and it took a while to adjust to it as well, because like I said before, you don't realise how much time off you get when you're playing, and how much more practical I could have been. And when you're on the other side, it's real full on, bro. But I think I'm really starting to grasp what it is that I need to do and to be the best coach that I can be week in, week out. And I'm really enjoying it now.
What's future plans look like? Obviously, you got 2 more years at Hull, KR, which is exciting. Is there a goal to come back to the NRL, potentially coach in the NRL? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think if you don't have those goals, that's definitely something that I'd love to do and be able to come back into the NRL, where, like you said, it'll be a full circle moment for myself. But I'm really just enjoying this moment now and the 2 years that I've got, and just want to invest heavily into that, and then hopefully the rest will look after itself.
Also, a little bub on the way.
Little bub, bro.
Could be any minute now.
I told you before, I got a bit of a concerning message before, bro. But we're all good. The phone hasn't gone off yet.
When we were having coffee before, I was just like, man, imagine if we're like mid-podcast, you're like, I'm going to get going, we're having a baby.
I told my missus there's a bit of a code. If you ring 3 times on the Apple Watch, bro, it's time.
Have we had any?
We're all good.
We're good. How are you feeling about that? Because, mate, fatherhood's obviously going to be a huge life changer. Like, how are you feeling about it?
I'm so excited, bro. I think there's nothing more in life that's, more special than being a dad. And I think I've always wanted to, be a dad. And the time has finally come. But, you know, I'm really happy with where I'm at within myself and my life and my journey, that I'm really confident that, you know, I'll be a good dad, and, you know, she's coming into a real stable and happy environment, and, you know, we're hoping to give her the world, bro, which would be really cool.
That's it, mate. That's so exciting. What kind of dad do you reckon you'll be? Do you reckon you'll be the hard guy, or you'll be the softy man?
Who knows? It's not, mate. I don't know, eh? It's like the unknown. You don't know what to expect, but mate, I'll be a loving dad, eh? She's on her own journey, bro, and as long as we can provide, you know, everything that she needs, and then, you know, she can work out who she is in the world, and, you know, do whatever she wants, bro. That's the most important thing.
I think that's such a beautiful piece. Like, obviously, like, talk to a lot of like professional athletes, even guys and girls who have come out and they've got their own families. I think that piece of just letting them figure out where they want to go and what they do themselves, and just give them love.
Yeah, for sure. We're all own individuals, aren't we? You don't know what she's going to like in life, and you've got to give her the opportunity to, you know, find her own gifts and passions, and you know, we'll support her in whatever she does, bro, which is I think really important.
Mate, it's so exciting. Brother, mate, I've loved this chat, man. I think this has been a beautiful thing, mate. Before we do wrap things up, like, is there anything else that you'd like to talk about before we finish it up?
Nah, like I said, I know you guys are doing some great work, so I just want to, you know, thank you, and mate, for you guys reaching out to me, which I find really, you know, amazing that the support's there, and, you know, I feel cared about over here. I've been out of the game a long time, but, you know, to still have those connections with yourself. I've just, you know, met you. Feels like we've known each other a long time, but, you know, to catch up with Tommy and to see the good work that you boys are doing over here. I know we've got a bit of a workshop tonight, which I'm really looking forward to. But you know, just want to say thank you.
Right, well, fuck, mate. To be honest, it's my pleasure. Like, it's cool to link with you. You got that. You're one of those dudes where, like, you don't have to know you really well to get a good vibe from you. Like, I think we caught up on the field after the game, and first time meeting you, he gave me a big hug. I was like, that's my dude. Like, it's cool, man. And I think people like that, like good people doing good things, I think that's going to put people so much further ahead, and it's the ability to make genuine impact. Like, I love what you're doing in the coaching space, and I love your personality, or I guess your frame of mind, where it's like, how can I actually help the crew who are coming forward, and how can I help the game? I think that's a beautiful thing, man. Yeah, no, you too, bro. Like you're doing with your podcast, and I think it's about creating impact, isn't it? And genuine change in people and the world and in the community, and you know, seeing people get the best out of themselves, bro, which is, you know, something that I'm really passionate about. And like I said before, to have that, to be in a position to be able to, you know, take the lessons that I've learned and then, you know, help some younger boys coming through, or, you know, whoever it is, like you're saying, it's a pretty privileged position to be in, bro, isn't it? So, I think about that all the time. I always think, like, if you can make genuine impact and then, like, make a living, like, that's the golden circle. Like, that's where you want to be. It seems like you're right in it. Yeah, for sure, bro. Definitely. It's exciting. Can't wait, man. Bro, thanks so much, man. I appreciate you, man. Cheers, that was so sick. Awesome, brother. Cheers, man. Thanks for having me. Minicello lost the ball to Kenny-Dowall. He'll score, Kenny-Dowall.